Tomatoes. Well, this year I postponed the process of staking and pruning tomatoes. You can see the video I posted on my scraggly tomato plants back in June. My tomatoes simply were not looking too good back then. But now, with all the heat that came on here, albeit we're a month late, these tomatoes have all grown up. And even though we're a month behind in what I would consider the normal tomato production for this garden, the plants have green fruit that I do expect will ripen up, and I'll have a decent harvest by, say, mid-September or so, at very least by the end of September. You see, here at PDX Garden Home, the frost doesn't kill my tomato plants. It's when all the rain starts to fall, that's when it will cause the tomatoes to get mushy, and the gray skies will bring a halt to any further growth of these plants. That all happens usually mid-October-ish into November. I usually get my stakes in the ground right when the tomatoes are put in the beds. Then I single stem the tomatoes throughout the season by trimming all the side shoot growth to keep the plants tidy. I keep it all to one lead stem. But with the setback that we've had this year, planting a good month later than normal, the tomatoes were put in the ground late, and they were scraggly tomatoes at that. So I decided to just let my tomatoes grow unadulterated for a bit before I spent any time staking. Now that these tomatoes are a fair size, the plants are a fair size, I've been putting stakes in the ground, loosely tying the tomato branches to conform and grow up the stake. That's cleaning up the beds and the paths a little bit and giving us a more tidy look for some room in the beds. And I'll be doing this throughout the season instead of trimming them to a single stem. We already had a late start, so I'm letting the side shoots on these tomatoes carry on in hopes that it gives me some more tomatoes. And then that will be better than just limiting them to a single stem. I traditionally grow indeterminate varieties, so with a long enough season, I didn't sweat that I was losing some flowers when I would single stem, and therefore, by losing flowers, I'd be losing tomatoes when I would trim off side shoots. I always figured I could get another round, and usually I did. But this year, they may all come ripe about the same time, and that may be a little late. So keeping as much flowering growth on the plants I can is a priority. I'm still trimming to keep the plants reasonably centered around the stakes, and so that they're not invading the space of other tomato plants that I have planted next to them. I'm not going to go into detail about all the varieties I'm growing in this video because they're not ready yet. And I'm growing a lot of new varieties for myself this year, so I want to give you more details on how everything I grew actually worked out this season when I actually have ripe fruit, and some results to share. So in the meantime, here's just a quick list of the varieties that we're growing out here. I'm growing the tomato white currant. That's something I've grown many years in the past and I had leftover seed for. I get that seed from Territorial. I've got Bush Organic Tomato, which I got from Botanical Interest. I've got Clementine Organic, which I got from Johnny Seed. I got 5-Star Grape, which I got from Johnny Seed. I've got Grandero Tomato Seed, which I got from Johnny Seed. And I've got Japanese Black Trifle, which I get from Territorial. I've got Plum Regal, which I got from Johnny Seed, and I got Pisano, which I got from Johnny Seed, but I also have gotten from Territorial in the past. I got Sunrise Sauce, which I got from Territorial, and I got the Tomato Berry, which I got from Johnny Seed, but I've gotten from Territorial in the past. And last, I got Valentine, which I got from Johnny Seed this year. So that's a mix of cherry tomatoes and saucing tomatoes that I have listed there. And like I said, I will give you more details on that once they're red, they're ripe, they're harvesting, and I can share with you what the actual results of all these were. Well, we're getting the harvest on this morning. We started at 7 a.m. and it is weekly harvest time. What are we harvesting today? Well, I've got one Tromboncino, but not a lot of summer squash. My summer squash continues to be something that hasn't turned out a whole lot here, at least not yet. I've got a lot of kale, chard, some beets, some broccolis, a couple little cabbages, a little bit of carrots, just kind of a little bit of everything going on. So that's the harvest. Hey, good morning. Well, at the beginning of the season, I talked about planting a new flower for us here at the garden, the Nicotiana. It is in the tobacco family, and it's finally blooming, and I think it's kind of cool. I do like it. I don't know if we would put it in the same location again, but I just wanted to share it with you so you can see kind of how this turned out. If you look in my prior videos, it's the plant that, as it's been growing, it had really big green leaves, and we were kind of fretting over, what is this thing going to be? Is it going to do anything for us? Well, it is definitely finally doing something for us here, and it looks nice for this season. And I'll put some thought into, if I grow it again, where we might put it next season. No seed planting this week, but in the beds I planted the last of the zinnia flower starts, rutabaga, and Brussels sprouts from our nursery of fall plant starts.